DC Marvel, Batman Deadpool, #1. And that may be confusing because we read Marvel DC, Deadpool Batman #1. This is different. This is the DC version.
It's very different.
This is coming to us, the main story from the writer Grant Morrison of Final Crisis, JLA, and New X-Men, and the artist Dan Mora of Power Rangers, World's Finest, and Superman. The colorist is Alejandro Sanchez, and the letter is Todd Klein. We also have a number of backup stories in here that we'll just quickly run through the creative teams on. We have A Magician Walks into a Universe, written by James Tynion, Joshua Williamson, and Scott Snyder, with art by Hayden Sherman. We have Sticks and Snicks by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. We have Harley and Hulk's Amazing Saturday by Marika Tamaki and Amanda Connor. And then we have Static and Miss Marvel in New Friends in Old Places by G. Willow Wilson, Dennis Cowan, and Klaus Janson. Jay.
Yes.
Tell me your thoughts on our main story here, on our Batman Deadpool crossover.
What the fuck was Grant Morrison smoking?
Okay, I think it's important to note Grant Morrison has done many big important things and many, kind of seminal things.
Yes.
He has also done very weird things in his time as a writer.
Yeah.
We have reviewed some of them here on the pod, like Sea Guy, which I think might literally be the weirdest thing we've ever reviewed.
Yeah, it's up there. There's a few other really weird things that we did on the Strange Saturday Super Show, but I think Sea Guy is towards the top of the list.
I think in terms of weirdest,
what's wild is when you pick up Batman. Deadpool was here, so I was expecting a little weird, but I think I was expecting kind of more weird in the way that his Green Lantern run was weird.
Explain.
In really deep lore cuts, weird things with aliens and kind of cosmic-y stuff, but not just in the utter mindfuck that this book is. Because it literally starts with cosmic beings for the Marvel and DC universe having sex, and that's, I guess, our explanation for why the universes have kind of coalesced here. And then basically the majority of the book happens in their minds via what is the name of Xavier's sister?
Oh god, was it Snow Queen or something? No.
I was she has I was looking for her actual name.
White Owl.
Sandra Nova, isn't it? Is her actual, right?
And for those who don't know, Jay and I, not the most well-read Marvel heads.
No,
huge DC boys
of the Deadpool Wolverine movie. So I have
okay, gotcha.
slight memories of who she is. But yeah, so not really what you're expecting being dropped. This is especially having read Deadpool Batman, which was a weird book, but a book that wasn't even, I think, on the Deadpool scale, was maybe the most normal Deadpool book I've ever read in my life. And then, holy shit, Grant Morrison took us on such an acid trip in this book that there were several times that I did just kind of stop and go what the fuck is going on? I genuinely can't follow this book at times.
And that's the thing for me, is that it's kind of incoherent sometimes. I
we get an explanation
what's
for
happening.
why it's incoherent, but that doesn't make the book not incoherent.
Right. And the explanation is wild. And I did actually greatly enjoy it conceptually. I do think that, and I think this is something that we'll probably talk a little more at length about, I do think it was wild for the second of two massive crossover moments for DC and Marvel.
I think it's wild, and we complimented it. And again, because I do really, really enjoy a lot of Grant Morrison stuff. I do think he's a wild choice to not just to pull in for this, because compared to Marvel just going to their racket, DC pulled back Grant Morrison, who hasn't done DC work in years, I think, at this point. And they brought him back specifically for this. And Katie mentioned a lot of the really weird stuff he's done. a lot of that is, creator-owned stuff, or at least like not DC or Marvel proper. DC guy's technically DC, even though
Yeah.
but it's not like with their characters. Usually when he does stuff with the big two, it's like weird for big two standards, but still a book that you'd expect to see coming out from the big two. This issue, I think, definitely forays more into the creator-owned stuff. I'm wild this got approved as like the main story for
because I think that there's something strange about Marvel and DC choosing Batman and Deadpool for this crossover.
Yeah,
like
we talked about that when
be
it was
the heart of it.
I think in an episode of the pod.
And so it carries a lot of strangeness in the tonal differences between the characters. And I think that this, even more so than the Deadpool Batman crossover, really felt like that to me. Like, Batman was being pretty serious the whole time in this, and I don't know, when you stack Batman with especially someone who's like fourth wall breaky unserious, it's like, oh no, Batman just looks kind of ridiculous. Like, and I say that as a massive Batman fan. I love Batman. He works so well when the tone is right.
Yeah.
But when you put him up against like Deadpool, and not in the way that, because in the Deadpool Batman crossover, there were some like stupid little pot shots about the common ridiculous Batman things that didn't really work for me personally.
We had talked about, like, at the end of that, like, we were shocked that there was no, like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, we're crossing over companies, I'm with Batman, isn't this cool, I'm Deadpool, and that's Batman, I'm not supposed to be here with Batman. This book felt like it had a lot more of, like, what I was expecting out of that, and that's not to say because I was expecting it, I was happy to see it.
I will say, they did do one joke in this that really, really got me. And it's when Deadpool is carrying Batman's corpse, kind of classic comic book death style. And he makes a comment about this guy's big, lucky I didn't get the absolute Henry Moore sculpture edition. I'm like, that would be really funny. He was just carrying around the Colossus of Absolute Batman.
I feel like they did a lot of, like, I mean, firstly, it's Dan Moore, which is great, but, like...
So the art was phenomenal.
Like, I mean, you're coming out, and then we did, like, a Deadpool Batman cross at one point. Like, so, like, there were a lot more, like, I think, cool things in this issue to kind of latch onto than the first one had.
Absolutely.
But I also think the narrative was just so ridiculously incoherent, and that again, that's by design. I know that. Like, we had all these different factors. This is the one, like you said, towards the end that comes up, which I did actually really. I feel like the end sequence, once we kind of get to that character and I'll say the object, because we do have it teased early on that there's like a reality object. So once we actually get to that object, so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. But I was like, I had to read so much of this book where things just kept changing and going crazy, and there's just no explanation, and they just kind of keep going. And I was like, that made it a really weird reading experience.
Exactly. And I feel like I really need to drive home. We really liked Sea Guy. Jay liked Happy. I didn't love Happy.
Awesome. I liked Happy.
But
I thought Happy was
awesome. So Grant Morrison does a good job with like weird surrealist things, even in a superhero context. I think the thing that just didn't land for me is this being the flagship story in this issue. Like, this felt like it should have been one of the weird backups. Like, it had almost too much space for the strangeness it was doing.
That's kind of what you hit on. Like, I think I say front, there's probably like 2/3 of the story of them like just kind of going through crazy bullshit and like nothing really making sense. Like, did not need to be as long as it was. It was mainly just fodder for Deadpool to like make jokes. I
Mhm.
also question the decision. And this is a really weird thing to question the decision of, but I question the decision to use the current Batman suit. Um,
Let me tell you what I question the decision of suit wise. They used Damian as Robin, but put him in not his current like
which I think
Robin
makes more
suit.
sense because this is like supposed to be a separate universe and stuff. So I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
having Damian look different in a different suit makes sense. Why is Batman in his like very specific brand new Batman run suit?
Well, here's the thing. I think that the word supposed to be is a bit misleading there because I don't think anyone working on either one of these books was given a directive of like, this is the context of how this crossover is happening.
No, but we're told in this story that this is an alternate universe Batman. We get given his Earth number.
Oh, you're right.
Like this is not our Batman. We are told that very specifically. Um, why is he being put in a suit that is like so established as like the brand new Batman run that started 3 months ago's suit? Like that is so confusing. Like I get it for the cover. I get that you
Of
wanted that like
course.
new, but why in the story is he in this suit that's so specifically to this run when you even like go through the effort to put Damian in a different suit to help establish that this is a different world? Like it just doesn't make any sense to me to
I
decide to
feel like
use
the
that.
Damien thing is purely because they're like Marvel fans will not recognize Damien's like gray and red Robin fit.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like I don't even know that it's Marvel fans. I think it's more because I don't know that there are Marvel fans and DC fans in terms of comic books. I think it's probably more
That's
like
very fair.
casual fans who will pick up this book that don't
Yeah,
usually read comic books will be confused by Damien's, look. But
not
yeah, it was really
fire
confusing to me to
or
put
streetlight
Batman
look.
in like a suit that's very specific to like our current continuity right now, and then be like,
Mm-hmm.
this is not that Batman though. Because he wasn't
But
in that
yeah, so
suit in
this.
the DC in the Marvel DC crossover,
Mhm.
which obviously should, and like it would make more sense to me if like Jorge Menez was drawing the book and he was like, I just want to use my suit, but like no, it's Dan Moore. Like I don't get that. Also though, maybe a weird thing to say because of like everything we've just said about this book, but I think this is some of Dan Moore's best work ever. Like I think this
It's
story is
gorgeous.
utterly gorgeous. I think like the action and like page breakdowns and stuff he does are amazing. I think that like look at that. That is a gorgeous page right there, man. Like I genuinely think that carried, and I think that's why I was talking about like the like crossover costumes and stuff were cool because I think I was just once I was like so much of this doesn't make any sense because I didn't know they were gonna pull it back in the end
Right,
entirely.
right.
I think I just started enjoying Dan Moore's artwork, and that kind of just became how I was experiencing this book. Um,
That's
Also,
so
I do
fair.
really like that rendition of Damien. Like, I honestly would kind of prefer to just put him in that. It looks more like Robin.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I don't
I feel
know.
like his green mask is so it makes it Damien. Like
Yeah,
just have him in the Robin suit with a green mask, and I will assume that
I
it's
mean,
Damien.
even like Hood and Sword are enough for to like know that it's Damien. Like, he doesn't need
Exactly.
a different color. I don't know why, and that happened like so deep into him being Damien that I don't get people who are like, oh, it has to be this like new suit because that's Damien's suit. I'm like, he
It's
was
like no,
around
he
so
had a
much
very
longer.
iconic Robin suit.
Yeah,
I have an omnibus of Super Sons right
yeah,
there.
like we had so much more Damien without that suit. So don't tell me that that suit is necessary to it being Damien. It's like people who refuse to put Dick in pants now. I know that there was a lot longer without pants, but like he doesn't have to not be wearing pants for it to be Dick Grayson. That's so
Like it's
stupid.
fine. He doesn't need his scaly underwear. But speaking of Dick Grayson, I would love us to touch on these other stories in
Yeah, I mean,
this.
if you want to touch on that one, I'll give it to you. Because if you
Yeah.
don't have nice things to say,
So I'm gonna start this by saying I really enjoyed Tom Taylor's run on Nightwing. Uh, I don't know that this had my
Bruno Redondo
favorite
did some
parts
really
of
cool
that in
like
it.
silhouetted shots.
Look, I have very few qualms with Bruno Redondo's art. I do think there are a few moments in this one where I'm like, ooh, that looks a little odd. Um,
That's why I'm talking about the silhouetted shots. Look at that. I like it a lot. So
right? Oh my
I
god.
thought the
And
silhouetted ones
like,
were actually real rad.
I think my problem is so much of this,
And honestly, this was a gorgeous page. Got shout out.
right? Bruno Redondo. I got the Redondo cover. How could I not?
I actually love this. Like I got a
It
variant
is a good cover,
for
but
the other one. Even though I got the
I love Bruno.
Shadow.
Mhm.
Green Arrow. This one, I thought it was really rad. Anyway, please go. I'm just jumping in.
You're good. You're good. I really wish that there weren't two stories happening here. Like there's a little bit of a story of Dick and Laura hunting, trying to find Laura's sister, and inexplicably she was her dog. Well, her Wolverine was taken by Killer Croc, and they're like, no need to expand on that. Why was if Killer Croc wanted the animal, why were they locked in a cage for superheroes to come find? Who knows? Who cares? I thought that side of it was super duper weak, and then I really liked, and I think that some of this might be Bruno Redondo's art. I really loved the one page we got of them hanging out in the clock tower.
Yes, that was fun.
Like
I thought it was the angle you were gonna go with it. Is I didn't like the story, but I love the interactions, and I was gonna be like, "What the fuck are you on?" Because
no, because I feel like if Tom Taylor wanted to do what he clearly did want to do, which is drawing parallels between Laura and Dick as not necessarily legacy heroes. Gabby calls them Nepo heroes, and I think that's a fine enough term. Drawing these parallels for them and being like, look at these characters who, respect each other and understand each other. I feel like the really empty and vapid uh hunt for Killer Croc, unnecessary. And you should have leaned into something with a bit more charm to it, because I think that there was an opportunity here. And again, it could just be that I love Bruno Redondo's art so much that I look at that page and I'm like, look at that. Look at all of these besties hanging out. I want to just see them hanging out, eating Chinese food, playing with dogs. But I feel like that could have been a much more interesting set piece for him, instead of a lot of it taking place in the sewers and being this really nothing
yeah,
burger action thing.
as they
Because
still
that,
just talked about everything in a way that was very
as they just talked about everything, or if they couldn't talk about something, had very specific captioning.
yeah. Yeah, it was that one was a bit rough. I honestly did not enjoy
It
the
was,
backups
but I
in this
love
as
Bruno's
much
art.
as I did in the other one.
Mhm.
I thought the strongest one. It was very very short, really, but I thought the strongest one was the Miss Marvel static backup, which
Really?
I thought that one had a lot of charm to it, despite being short. It was they just fully accepted the fact that these two characters exist in the same world without needing to do a lot of
Yeah,
legwork
which
that a
is
lot of the other backups did, where it's
mhm.
oh, it's this character that some reason I'm acting like is way more special to me than other superheroes in this universe because I know that they're from another universe, even though there's no reason for me to know that. It was just fully accepted as Static is aware of this hero. He likes her, so he's gonna go out of his way to go and stop crime when she's also stopping crime. And then they have a nice little interaction, and they stop some crime together, and then it's over. And I was like, you know what? That worked. I like that.
I think conceptually it works a lot more. My problem with that one was I liked it except for when they interacted. I didn't love Miss Marvel and Static's interaction.
I thought the interactions were fine. Honestly, I thought they were better than a lot of the other backups interactions, especially the
Hey,
Tom Taylor.
I'm not saying that, because I agree
I
with you
grade
that I
on a
think the
curve
backups
when
in
it's
this
at the very
issue.
last story after reading this whole book. No, I thought the interactions were fine. Good on G. Willow Wilson. I thought that one was decent.
Who we do love. We love G. Willow Wilson in this
Yeah,
house.
please,
Gone too soon
bring back
from
Hunger
Hunger
in
in
the
the
Dust.
Dust.
What is happening? Is the train
And
ever
then just to
happening?
briefly hit on
Just
him,
tell me.
I don't understand why the Constantine backup had 3 titans of writers working on it. It was nothing really happened. So I
No,
don't
it
know
was kind
why
of
they needed
visually
so many
fun,
writers.
Hidden
It
Sherman.
was.
Yeah.
I Here's the thing, DC art is DC has been catering their art to me for the past, 5 to 10 years. They've been hearing my little whispers. And the fact that this issue had Dan Mora, Hayden Sherman, and Bruno Redondo is like, oh yeah, DC wants me
No,
to
this
eat
was honestly a
this
really
issue.
strong art issue, I think. Like,
Yeah.
top to bottom. Yeah. And
It's
it's just
just
like
somehow all
I
the
don't get the
writing in
pairing stuff for the
between.
backups. See, like they were much weaker outside of, I think, Doctor Strange, Constantine. Again, the actual story they told notwithstanding, I think that's a pairing that people actually like would be interested in seeing.
Right? And
The
makes
other ones,
sense.
yeah, the other ones real weird, and I think some of the Marvel ones were weird, but they like I don't know. I feel like they justified their existence to me a lot more. The backups
Hmm.
there than these did. Whereas like why does this whole Harley Quinn story exist? You know, like I know why the Wolverine Nightwing story exists, and it's just because Tom Taylor wrote both of them.
Right.
You know, like they didn't justify it beyond that. So I'm like, I don't know. These backups were not as exciting to me.
Agreed. And like, I almost wish that instead of framing these as Batman Deadpool, they just did full anthologies instead. Like, not having this like massive chunk of a
Yeah.
story at the start.
Also, like, maybe this is like dumb, but like when you have a big like shock surprise at the end of the first book with like the logo thing and like the maybe to be continued thing, it's wild to me that there's nothing in this book either continuing that
Right?
or like another little stinger. Like, why does the first book get to have this like really like look, we put something in here that we didn't tell you about that's like a little surprise, and then the DC book is just like, nope, no fun.
I think what it comes down to, and you and I have talked about this a couple times now, it feels like despite this being a kind of monumentous thing, DC and Marvel crossing over, it feels like neither. It feels like there wasn't a whole lot of passion behind it, is what I'm gonna land on for saying it.
Interesting, because I don't think we talked about that. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see it like a week ago? They like stealth dropped crossovers on each of the like each of their streaming comic sites.
No.
Like they each got a digital only crossover that dropped like last week. I'm trying to remember what they were. One was Jeremy Adams for DC and it was Flash somebody, and then
I have both apps, don't worry.
Marvel one was. But yeah, they like stealth dropped those a week ago and I was like, oh, wild. We're starting with that. But yeah, anyway, like I feel like that goes to the point of like I don't know what they're doing. But I do think they're doing more. I think Spider-Man, Superman is rumored.
It was Flash Fantastic Four. For DC. I'll find Marvels.
I think like it's maybe helped by the fact that this doesn't seem to be the only crossover they're doing. But it is wild to me that when they just finally decided to do a crossover together again, it feels like the opposite of being bogged down by editorial interference, which is what I would expect to be the problem with the book. Is like, oh, can't really do anything about that. They just got screwed by editorial, making sure that like all of the characters were exactly how they wanted them, and nobody could really lose or do this or whatever. Like that's what the problem I'm expecting. And like they made sure that the two issues had to like coincide, but it didn't really work right. This is the exact opposite. Nothing connected with anything. It feels like nobody got any editorial notes about anything. And
like, I don't know. I'm assuming it was intentional. The other crossover was Thor and Shazam, by the way. Yes. It feels so strange to like. It's like they decided they're like, we're not going to make this an event. Like the big thing that they clearly wanted was there's not some connecting reason why all of these crossovers are happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Why on earth? Like, I understand that can get
doing 3 events a year and they can't handle another one. DC's literally doing an event while they drop this book. Why?
Literally doing an event.
Any extra people that you pull into the comics can't pick up a book off the shelf and read it? Like, this is a horrible idea. What if somebody reads this and goes, oh, you know what? I love the Teen Titans show. Let me go pick up the Teen Titans book, and now they're in the middle of an event. Like,
in the middle of an event that the Titans don't get to do much.
They did more this week.
They did. They did
a lot more than last month.
That review coming soon.
Yes.
But yeah, so this is I don't think either issue is what I wanted out of the much anticipated DC
the Marvel
Marvel
book
crossover.
had like the better backups and the more coherent plot. This book has a more beautiful artwork and probably still the stronger writer, despite
story, yeah.
the you know the weirdness in it. I don't know, man. Honestly, I feel like both books were just a little, and I am never the guy to say like this needed editorial because I'm notoriously not a very pro editor. Like big two, person. Like I blame editors for a lot of the problems at the big two, but this book.
I will say most of the time when you blame them for stuff, it is for inaction.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's true. I
So
do
I
very
think this
constantly
is
get on them for continuity stuff. That's your job. You're the continuity.
So I think this makes sense with your
that's
historic
right.
ethos with editors.
Yeah, it's an action. Be active. It's your job. Who edited this? I'm gonna call somebody out here.
No.
For no good reason.
Absolutely not.
No? Okay.
Anyway, be sure to hit subscribe to add our show to your pull list. And as always, we'll see you next week.
Comic Geeks.
Geeks.